The other week, I got asked by a college freshman, how did you leave behind your prestigious job? After all, I had worked in investment banking for 6 months before I decided to quit, before I decided I want absolutely nothing to do with that path or any associated path in life. When I think about that question, when I think about that moment, that student, a few things come to mind. The first is that prestige, or rather our pursuit of prestige, prevents us from doing what we actually want to do, what we care about, what brings us joy, what we actually dream about in life. Because, believe it or not, this college freshman also has aspirations of being a YouTuber, but is battling this sort of internal conflict of going the prestigious route and going to med school to become a doctor. When I think about prestige, it's not real, right? Prestige is not real. It's not something solid you can grasp onto or knock against, not someone you can say something to and get a response back. The only thing real or concrete about prestige is that a lot of people believe it's real, right? Because at the end of the day, prestige is just people's thoughts, perspective towards someone or something that everyone has sort of collectively decided to feel the same way about. And in just sort of doing that, right? People are so focused on what other people think that they don't actually take a moment to decide for themselves what they think, how they feel. And that's really sort of, I guess, the root of why people pursue prestige, why people have a hard time letting it go, is that we're so focused on what other people think about us, how other people feel, that we don't ever, during this entire process, say, hey, what do I think about myself? How do I feel about myself and the direction my life is headed in? Right? It's like these just like two clashing forces that at times is so hard to overcome, right? I, for 21, 22 years, wasn't able to overcome that, that feeling, that, focus on what other people think of me. And ultimately, the question really isn't, how do I let go of prestige? Because when I think about my own experience with letting it go, it wasn't as simple as this like clearly laid out 5-step action plan. It was an entire journey in itself. A journey that really starts with, again, thinking for yourself, deciding how you feel, and more importantly, understanding why am I attached to prestige in the first place? Reason why you have a hard time letting it go is because you're so attached to it. And you have to be able to, peel back the layers of yourself and your current experience in life to figure out where this attachment began. So I guess to kind of use myself as a guinea pig or your metaphorical onion, when I think about my own experience in life, my own relationship with prestige, it started when I was a kid. I think I've talked about this pretty openly, but I was a super insecure kid. And a lot of my insecurity, a lot of my dependence on external validation, a lot of, honestly, all of my focus on my hyper obsession with prestige came from my upbringing. I grew up in an Asian immigrant household, and I feel like that already paints a pretty solid idea of what you might expect. There was this emphasis placed on, what sort of school you went to, where it fell in the US news ranking, what job you work, or more importantly, how much money you make. So you can tell other people, other Asian parents, where your kid went to school, what they do for work, what other people think, right? And when you're a kid and you grow up in that sort of environment where you're more, I guess, valued for what you do, right? Because where you go to school, what you do for work, those are all just sort of like these badges you pin on your shirt or your resume. They're not actually you, right? But you think that's who you are. That's how you define yourself because you receive love, connection, validation from your parents for what you do, for being able to live up to these standards, for being able to obtain these badges, like, I don't know, like you're a Pokemon trainer. And the same goes when you, I guess, venture outside your house, right? You venture out into college, the real world. You're so fixated on getting these badges, on acquiring prestige, rightfully so, because deep down, you and I were all wired for validation, for love, and connection. My camera overheated and stopped recording, but I was saying, you rely on other people for validation, for love and connection. Rightfully so, because that's how you grew up. That's how I grew up. When you're so dependent on other people for these things that are so deeply important to all of us as human beings, you're always going to, chase those badges. You're always going to chase prestige. And it's only when you are actually able to, provide, validation for yourself, when you're able to love yourself, when you're able to deeply connect with yourself, are you able to slowly start, weakening the bonds between yourself and your dependence on external validation, your focus on obtaining prestige. And that is no easy journey. That is no, 3-step clearly laid out plan. It's ultimately an experience. It's an ongoing journey, honestly, to be able to get to that point. And it all starts with, being able to honestly sit with yourself, to, as uncomfortable as it may be, start to peel back those layers of who you are. Because once you understand who you are, and you understand that you're more than just what you do, what the badges on your shirt are, you stop caring what other people think. You stop caring about prestige. And you're able to start doing what you want, what you care about, what you dream about. So, hopefully that is somewhat helpful. And by all means, if any of you out there are struggling with prestige or have any other sort of questions and whatnot, like, by all means, I would love to hear from you, because at the end of the day, I totally understand just how difficult, how alone you can feel when you're having these sort of thoughts and questions, because again, right, everyone around you is sort of following the same path, following the same models as everyone else, and we all just want to fit in. So until next time, I'll catch you later. Have an awesome rest of your day.